All right, seeing none, next item on the agenda is we're going to have the outside groups, Booster Education Foundation and Patrons Council, so we'll take them up. What do you want to do?
Well, first of all, I've invited these groups to come to the Board of Education tonight. Later on in the Committee of the Whole, the workshop of the whole board, we're going to begin discussing Policy 8:90, also in that budget timeline that I gave to the board back in January. We had talked that we will take a look at our parent groups in regards to if there's any relation to budget or operational costs and those things. This was an issue of discussion when I first took over as superintendent in July, and I would have to be, as I stated before, honest to the board that this was not one of the priorities on my list when we were coming in developing a budget and looking at the opening of this new school year with a new business manager and a new superintendent. So I've had an opportunity over the last 8 or 9 months to get to know these groups and to see them work hand in hand with the administration and the school and the community. And what I asked them to do tonight is we met last week and with myself, Mr. Ostro, and Ms. Bilesma, and we discussed our relationship with these outside groups as well as our relationships going forward. And I think what would be beneficial to the board is tonight to let each group have a few minutes to explain what it is their group does for Riverside Brookfield High School, how they function, their leadership structure, their plans for upcoming years, and then there will be an opportunity for the board to ask them questions. We'll go in alphabetical order, so the boosters can go first, patrons second, and the Riverside Brookfield Education Foundation can go third. And then what I would, just so when we talk about this later as we discuss Policy 8:890, and we want to start discussing parameters that need to be in place for our booster clubs or parent groups, we have an understanding of what it is that each of them does for us. Okay, so at this time, if the board doesn't have any questions for me, I'd like to call up the booster club.
Come on. How many people, Gary, how many people you have with you? You can have them sit.
I'm just going to speak for the
Okay.
Booster Club. I have 2 other gentlemen that are members, but I don't think they're going to speak. I'm Gary Zolny, current president of the Riverside Brookfield Booster Club, and I won't bore you with the entire list of what the Booster Club is. It's basically to support, encourage, and promote the athletic programs at RB High School for the benefit of the students, the school, the community, and the athletic programs. As you all remember, we got off to kind of a questionable start in the fall of this year because it was I don't know how you would say it, questionable whether for our $50 paid membership in the previous years, dating back to long before I took over 6 years ago, it was a common practice that for $50 membership you got into regular athletic events for free. It was questioned at the beginning of the school year, so we didn't have our membership drive because we weren't sure if we were going to be able to offer that to our booster members, but it was rethought, and in the winter sports program, after the fall sports ended, the winter sports, we offered that, we were able to offer that. And just from running through the winter sports, we had a successful not necessarily membership drive, but just a successful group of people getting back and involved with the Booster Club. And we've got a great new group of new board members that are going to be taking over in May. From every position is a new, except for Mr. Groening's going to be returning as treasurer. And we've got a new president, 2 vice presidents, and this new group has already resurrected the golf outing, which is June 22nd, so we expect to see a foursome out of every member up there sitting there. We should have a foursome for each of you. It's a great event. We haven't had it for the last 2 years, but it's one of the 3 major fundraising efforts for the Booster Club, and it's always been a very successful, fun time for everybody that's been there. And like I said, I'm very happy that the new people that are, Mr. Garvey is going to be the new president, taking over my position, and I think you're just going to see great things come from it because they're a very energetic new group of people. It's just what the club needed because we've been around. I've been involved with the presidency for 6+ years, and the people, like I said, it's good that we're going to change over. But just to pat ourselves on the back, just in this winter sports, we were able, the Booster Club was able to, we provide Athlete of the Week awards, which is a T-shirt and a $10 gift certificate for each male and female athlete. That is honored by the coaches nominate, and then they decide which person will be the Athlete of the Week. Cheerleading, that was, we paid almost $500 for that. Cheerleading, we gave a gift of $3,259, and that went for brand new mats for the cheerleaders, and they were able to hold a competition here that was very successful, and I've been told that now they're going to be able to hold a sectionals. I think that's what Art told me, which is a huge, it's a great event for not only the school, but for the boosters to run concessions. It's a all-day event, and it's just great money-making thing. So we've already made our money back on that donation of the new mats, just with the one concession stand that they held their one contest for here already. So it was a great investment and they were very happy to get new mats. The track and field teams, we gave $1,500 for new equipment. The baseball teams, we gave $3,200 for brand new laptops, so it's much easier to keep stats. They've got up to the second stats to even what the pitch count is, balls, whatever. It's phenomenal what you can do now with the laptops and everything that they do now. The wrestling team, we bought brand new uniforms. We've kind of gone in a different direction that the Booster Club hasn't gone in the past, and that's actually purchasing uniforms for teams. In the past, it was always covered by the school budget, and the Booster Club always bought them special equipment to benefit the programs. Well, now, being the scaled back, because of the economic times that the budgets are scaled back for the teams, certain teams don't have any money to buy new uniforms. So the wrestling team, they were using wrestling uniforms for 3 or 4 different seasons that they had. So they looked like a bunch of ragtag kids. So we actually bought them brand new uniforms. They were very happy. They looked great. The young lady who was just in here accepting an award, for the very first time, the badminton team actually has uniforms, and the Booster Club was able to buy them for $1,400 brand new uniforms. And we also, as mentioned by the principal, we donated $3,000 for the J. Kyle Baird Leadership Foundation, which we sponsor four young adults to go to, I believe it's Colorado, for their leadership thing, and it's a great program. So in essence, just in the winter, the Booster Club has donated $13,821.55 just for those several things that I've mentioned. On top of that, we are hosting, as was also mentioned, we also host the Senior Awards Banquet, which is May 6th, and that's we do that every year, and that's probably the highlight of what the Booster Club can do, because we honor every individual graduating athlete. We give them their own little day in the sunshine. They get an award plaque, keychain, an engraved keychain, and then there's also individual awards for 12 sport athletes, academic athletes, and Athlete of the Year. And it's just a great event. Every family member that attends also has a wonderful time with that. That isn't reflected on what we've given. So basically, over the last 6 years, you take this close to $14,000, add that to the $121,000 in hard, tangible athletic equipment that we've given over the last 6 years, and that brings our total up to almost $135,000 of donations over the last 6 years that the Boosters has given the school. And that's not counting the average cost of about $4,500 per year for the Senior Awards Banquet. So if you roll that in on top of the actual hard athletic equipment, we've given almost $165,000 in athletic equipment and awards and whatnot. And that's basically, we had very good talks with the principal and the superintendent regarding this issue of membership, and we realized that economic times won't allow us to do that anymore, and we realize that. So we've talked about various possibilities. I don't know if you want to get into the Oh, probably
We'll probably
leave
wait
that
till
for-
they talk about the
But
policy.
it was very productive where we can work, the new president and myself thought there's some very good ideas that the principal thought might work out with you regarding that, the possible loss of gate money that actually goes to the school. So we've come up with some very good ideas that I think may work and may be more palatable for you as a board to agree to. And like I said, we hope we all, the other thing, we have $15,000 still sitting, waiting to decide what we want to do with the new sign that we're, for the front of the school, so that you put that on top of everything else. We still have $15,000 earmarked for the new electronic sign that I hope soon will get built, but now we've come up with a different possible location, so.
You're stealing
that's
my
to be-
thunder.
There's other venues there too, so we don't have a finite thing on that too, but we're still waiting to donate the $15,000 for the sign also. So basically, like I said, the situation for the Booster Club, I think, is very promising. And like I said, the new group of people are very energetic, and I think you're going to be in very good hands in the future. And like I said, the upcoming challenges you have, I think it's great that the Booster Club can offer a very good assistance with you and continue the proud legacy of all the athletic teams that we've had at RB over the last years. And to keep that continuing, I'd love to see that. So if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for the
Hey,
Bruce?
Gary, how many people are actively involved in boosters now?
That's hard to say. We range from 6 to 20 every now and then. It all depends. The membership varies. You'll get people coming in during special sporting events that, like say during basketball season, just for concessions, we'll see 50 different people volunteer to come in and help for concessions. Now we've got a whole group of people that are on the golf committee now, so how many people would you say you have already?
Our golf committee right now is comprised of probably about 15 to 20 people.
So, and like I said, so you'll get people that'll volunteer maybe 1 or 2 times just to show up and give their little help for a concession stand, or you'll get people that'll just jump in and get involved and start doing it. We've got one young lady that's taken it upon herself to do make sure that all the concession stands are being run for the soccer teams, girls and boys, and track. She's taken it upon herself for track, which is great because I kind of did all the basketball ones, and there was maybe about 20 of those. So I said my job has shifted a little in the spring, so she's stepped in and taken that over. And like I said, as it goes, I think with the golf outing coming back, people will find out more about it. And just like the gentleman that got involved now, they didn't really know what Boosters was about because they got involved because there was no Boosters, so they just started running a concession stand. They volunteered for that, and with that, they came to our meeting. And when the winter sports came and they saw, hey, wow, there's a big potential here. We shouldn't let this go. So they all stepped up and they're volunteered to take it over. So that's kind of a good thing. It's just kind of snowballing back again. So we kind of hit a little valley, and now I think we're snowballing back up to where you're going to see a lot of participation, especially with the new implementation of the pay-per-play thing. So this is a big help.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you.
Any questions?
Gary,
yes.
you can ask a question, Mike?
I have a couple.
Go on.
Tim, if you got a question, go ahead.
What, I just want to know, do you know what the average membership was, not this year, but over the last 5 or so years? Do you have an idea?
300.
About 300?
About
Well, that's what it says.
Yeah.
300 to 400?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And I'm not sure what our exact total, that's why I didn't want to put out a
Yeah, I don't know.
membership. I would say it's probably about 170, I think,
Might be close to 200.
maybe 200 this year.
Okay.
So even though we didn't have the big push at registration, people did come back and join up for that.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah,
Just
it was definitely off.
Top's 300, but it's about 170 now?
Yeah, and like I said, that you missed all the people for football
Yeah.
and all that, and that's their biggest sport. So, and what we're trying to get past is we're trying to put a new mindset into that's where the athletic director has to help out too, where the coaches, rather than trying to fundraise for their own little individual sport like say for water polo, oh, we want to run our own concession stand or this and that, where they have to go out and buy hot dogs, buy this and that. By the time they're done doing that, they may raise $120. Where if everybody cooperates and does it under the umbrella of boosters, we've got the ability to, where we don't have any waste, we all, what we have left over goes to some other event, this and that, nobody has to buy it, so it's there. We just say, have the people volunteer, and we haven't turned anybody down. Like I said, I think in the last 5 years, there's only been maybe about a handful, 3 or 4 times that we've actually said no to certain requests, and it wasn't because of cost or anything like, just kind of what it entailed. I think one of them that comes to mind was like personal trainers for basketball or something, like they wanted to, and we said no, that doesn't help the at-large group. So now, like I said, and we've seen now where we're going and actually buying uniforms, and where I told Art, I said if the boosters are going to buy uniforms, make it imperative that the coaches get all those uniforms back at the end of the year, because we don't want to keep buying uniforms every year so little Johnny and Sue can have their, their basketball jersey hanging in their bedroom. So that's one of the things that we put on Art, to say if we're going to buy uniforms, we have no problem with that, but make sure the coaches are accountable and get those back into the school so they can be used 3-4 years use out of them.
Laura, did you have a question?
A question for Dr. Skinkis. When we have the conversation on the policy, will boosters be able to be here to answer questions in regards to that policy?
Sure. If they'd like to stay that long, I don't know if you're obligating them to.
Yeah.
I think from our conversations, I think the boosters as well as the other groups feel that we're trying to build something together. But I mean, if there's something specific, you'd maybe want to ask them now.
What you mentioned about the gate receipts, and you said that there were some ideas you had, because that's going to come up,
Yeah, we
right?
had-
So what were
We had
those-
talked with the boosters, the RBEF who does the activity passes, and, that we're going to have more information on that as we get into that later. But we thought that there were some specific areas that would help them generate more revenues for the boosters with the administration's assistance in regards to concessions, and like he said, having everybody run their concessions through the boosters and working on a single spiritware store that the boosters can work with, and having teams help with the golf outing. In regards to the boosters membership, some of the ideas we discussed were possibly lowering their membership fee, but in turn, instead of having free admittance to the 4 or 5 events that charge admittance or charge for ticket fee, is that booster club members would have a reduced rate. So it's almost like a 50-50, where the booster clubs would get the $25 or $30 for joining it. I'm just using rough numbers of joining the booster club, and in turn, a booster club member, instead of getting into the games free, would maybe pay $2 instead of the $4 or $5 that are charged.
Any other question, Michael?
In general, how many people are on the board and who are they?
We have, the board is comprised of a president, 2 vice presidents, a recording secretary, and a treasurer. And then we have committee chairs and whatnot. It's all online if you want to see the total makeup and the listing of all that.
And your organization runs based on a bylaws?
Yes.
Okay.
Got a brand new, I don't know if Art gave them to you, but we rewrote the bylaws and have a brand new set of bylaws available. And if Art doesn't have those, I'm not sure if if Eric Duvey put these online yet, but we do have available if you need the new bylaws. You should have them. I don't know if Art gave them to you yet or anything, but we
can
have
check on
those
that.
approved.
And for people who don't know, where are your meetings and when are your meetings?
The meetings are always the second Thursday of every month, and we've had all of them, we've been, depending on, most of the time it's been in the alumni lounge. We did start out here, but then we were told we were going to have them here, but then we were told the alumni lounge was better for our meetings on those Thursdays. So they've been most of the majority have been in the alumni lounge.
So
But it's
here in
always
the
the second Thursday of every month at 7:30.
Here in the building?
Here in the building, and they always run normally about half hour, 45 minutes.
Okay, and the boosters have a website? You want to share the website with us?
Yeah, I don't know the website.
It's linked to the athletic site. And the second half of the question is, how do you get to your website?
Just by going onto the
The athletic
the
website.
athletic website, and there's a link right there.
Okay. Then can you explain a little bit about how do the boosters decide what they're gonna donate to the school?
Taking point for the J. Clyde Baird Leadership Program. That was presented to us last year by one of the assistant athletic directors. She came and gave a presentation, and at the time, we had a discussion, didn't know a lot about it, and we kind of backed off on it. We had a meeting as a whole, and it was just voted on by the majority that we would hold off donating to that. This year, there were four students that had gone and participated in the program. They've already gone through it, and they came and explained to us what it is and about the leadership, and made a great presentation to us. And we felt that that's something that falls within the, what the Booster Club is all about, the leadership, mentoring, athletics. And this necessarily wasn't even just all athletics, but it was then voted upon. We thought it was just such a good thing that we would donate the $3,000 to sponsor the kids for that. Other times, it's just as simple as, like I said, I don't know of any times where somebody's come to us and not gotten what they wanted. Like the cheerleaders, it was presented to us that we can't hold any meets here because our mats are dangerous, they're falling apart. So we have the money, we just voted on, the majority of the people there, they gave a presentation. Now it's actually gone through Art. The coaches will go through Art, give them a presentation, give them a cost estimates. We always like to say if you can get 2 or 3 cost estimates so we can see the best price. Say back when Jerry did the presentation for the wrestling, he got us different prices, said what it was all laid out on, and we just purchased it. We have a vote on it. Everybody says, yeah, it's a great thing, and we vote on it. Like I said, I can't remember in 7 years, I think there's been only 2 or 3 things that we haven't approved. So we're in a position where we've been very successful raising money. We have a good avenue to raise money with our golf events, with our concessions, with the membership, where we haven't been strapped for cash. So we've been able to really give a lot back to the school, as the numbers show. So, like I said, I think one time, I think that we did turn one of the sports teams on. It was soccer, where in the fall we gave them $5,000, and I think in the spring they wanted another $5,000. We said, well, that's double dipping twice in 1 year. Let's wait till the next school year and whatnot. So that's one of the only times that I can think of remembering where we didn't approve something like that. But it's basically just a discussion of the group at large, and then we just have a vote, and it's done. Like I said,
And currently, the Boosters are a 501c3 organization?
as of 2 years ago, we've got all the paperwork, we've got all the lawyers' fees and everything else, and we file our taxes and all that, and I think
You
you've
filed
seen
the
them.
application, right?
Oh, yeah.
To become a 501?
Oh, yeah,
And did they give you a status, or did they give you probationary status of some type?
no, I think we're full,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, you said you had a website. Is some of this items going to be available to people to look on the website, like the application or the 501c3 letter?
I
or-
believe that we could put that on there. There's not we haven't gotten a lot. Once we got the 501, I know the school 2 years ago was very concerned with all the groups to get that. And once we became compliant, nobody's really asked us until now. So if we've got all the paperwork, if anybody wants to see it, I guess we can make that available on the website if that's what we need, or if we can. I thought we had given it to the school, and I thought we had one on file with the school.
Okay.
So I believe we did give a copy of that to the school. So I don't know where that would be held or whatnot. So, yeah. So the school should have that, if any of the board members want to look that over too.
Yeah, and I don't know if it would be the school's responsibility to make that available to the public as
Yeah,
opposed to...
if anybody wants to see it, we've got copies. We can get it anytime anybody has a request for it. We can get it. It's not something that we would have to search for.
Right now, the school puts their bills and expenditures on our website
Oh, okay.
as of a few years ago. Is that something your organization is considering doing in the?
I'll look back to the new, and they say yes. And like I said, I think that's very good, and especially with the way we do with the spreadsheet now, it'll be very easy to do monthly.
And I guess I had a couple insurance questions for you know, we're kind of the governing body of the school. And, you know, I asked, you know, how does the process go where equipment, you mentioned track hurdles or whatever, you know, how does that get known to the governing body that we now own something more than we did the other day? And it leads into insurance, where how do we know that, you know, our insurance company now is responsible should an insurance thing take place where it needs to be replaced and we have to file a claim? I mean, are receipts submitted to the business office? Or?
Artie purchases everything through his department, the athletic department, and all we do is write a check to RV High School. So
Okay.
he's paying it through his, or getting it, paying it through his account, and we're reimbursing him at that time. So it's actually the athletic department purchasing everything.
Okay, and then on the other insurance question is, you know, you have certain equipment out there, right, like the trailer or whatever. What kind of insurance do you have in case somebody like steps off the trailer and, you know, hurts themselves, their leg or something? As a separate organization, you know, who's going to be responsible for that type of thing?
And that's a very good question. It's been brought up in the past, and we've looked into buying individual or a policy for ourselves, but we were told check with the school, so we would always go back. And over the years, we've always been reassured by the previous business managers that we're covered under the school's insurance program. Now, if that's changed, we should know about it. But we've gone on 4 separate occasions that I know of. We've always asked, is this something that we need to get a separate insurance policy? And they said, no, he believes that it's covered under the school's insurance because it's on school property that we're running things. Now, we are looking into with the golf outing. We've been told in the past that that's been, but now we're looking, we don't want to take a chance if it's covered. We're looking at possibly getting a special rider for that day. So in case something happens out at the golf course, the school can't be held liable for that.
I
So
think
we
that's
are
a
looking into
good
that.
idea.
So, you know, but in the past, we've always been reassured by the business manager that we are covered under the school's policy by running our concessions because it's on property. So if that has changed, the Booster Club should know, and then, you know, if that's not for the current business manager to tell us, then the new board should go out and get, you know, check into insurance and stuff. We've always been concerned about that.
And so the organization you have now was newly incorporated in 2009, but there always was a Boosters corporation since like 1954, and they operated. And I guess you were part of that operation?
No.
Or you came in 09?
I came in at it seems like I came in at 56, and I looked probably like I did, but
We were part of
we were all part of the group in 06, I think, that came in and kind of.
So I'm talking about the time period before where we didn't have a 501c3.
Oh, no.
We didn't have.
I came in before the 501, and through a course of events, 2 or 3 years into it, we became the 513. Now we've been that for the last 2 years, so, or 2+ years. So, but before that, before 06, I haven't got a clue. You know, how it was run and whatnot.
So, but on January 1st, 2009, you had money, right? Okay. Because when I'm looking at the filings, and it kind of, the very first return you file, it kind of looks like, you know, we have no money at the beginning, and
I'm not sure, I don't know if they.
but it's all one continuous thing where now you've tried to come back to, you know, I think probably what I'm going to suggest to the board, since I put this sort of on the board agenda almost 18 months ago, was, you know, if we have these groups that are going to operate with us, for us, and in conjunction with, you know, our mission for these kids, we should be doing everything above the board and doing everything as legally as possible. And when we see something that we're not doing right, we should share it and
I agree
do our
100%.
filings correctly and make our organizations as transparent as possible.
Because I think, I don't know if you remember, I had called you when we were talking about becoming a 501, and you were busy at the time, but you kind of gave us suggestions
Yeah,
on how to go about it. And
I had a
stuff.
long conversation with the treasurer and
Yeah.
just told him that it would be, you know, Form 1023 or Form 1024, and don't be intimidated by the form because it has a lot of small words and a lot of questions you got to
Sure.
fill out. And so hopefully, moving forward, that, we're in good standing and we just keep going. You have an attorney that re-ups your corporation every year. You have all that in place?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have an independent accountant go over the whole books and prepare everything, so it's not something that we're doing. It's somebody out of house, out of thing that just goes over everything and makes sure that our filings are all done. We do
Does
that
the
once
tax
a year.
return.
Yeah.
Does our tax
You're
return.
familiar with GuideStar, right?
I'm not.
GuideStar.org is a website where anybody can go in and sign up for a password, and you can type in Riverside Brookfield, and all the Riverside Brookfield Form 990s and pop up, and you can actually go and print them out. So that's available for the public to go and look, and so I wanted to let you know that. My last kind of questions are kind of about the major purchases.
Mm-hmm.
You had a major purchase when the scoreboard went on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you totally purchased, or did you kick in for that?
That was I don't believe that was 100% covered on that one. I'm not sure. That was dealt with through Otto, and I know we gave monies for that, and I'm not sure what percentage of the scoreboard.
Ballpark of what you put in for that?
I think it was, I'm not, offhand, that was such a long time ago. I'm not sure exactly what it was.
And then more recently, your filings say you helped purchase the scoreboard in the swimming pool.
Yeah, that was $15,000, I believe we gave. It was an upgrade. They had an initial cost that was going to get them a one-color, very bland thing, and by us kicking in, I think it was $11,000 or $15,000 off the top of my head. It might have been somewhere in that. I know it was $10,000 plus. They were able to do the full animation, color, all that. So they were very happy.
I'm
with
sorry
that.
to interrupt.
No, that, like I said, I know it was, that one was a major, that was like 10,000 plus. I'm not sure the exact numbers on that. You might have that
And
in
again,
front of
that
you.
worked the same way where the school went and purchased the upgrade and you sent in funds to the
Yes,
school?
we gave this, yeah, we didn't actually, and that's what we thought works out much better now currently with art, rather than us buying things, because then it's that vague thing, who owns it? This way, there's no question, you own, because it came into issue a few years ago, who owns what and, who paid for what. So now everything is purchased by art, and he submits us the bill, and we just reimburse him for the cost of that.
And we're trying, obviously, in these financial times, we have to, struggle on certain things. And I just wanted to ask, how far back did the postage meter, using the postage meter, go back? And what do you know about what that deal was?
That, I don't know anything about the postage meter. I know we mailed, like for,
Did you go out and buy your own stamps?
For the senior awards banquet, that's what we do. Like Mrs. Orgler is running it this year, and she says, "Well, what about postage?" I said, "Just go out and buy stamps. We'll reimburse you for whatever you need, or just keep your receipts." And yeah, we buy the stamps for all that. I know in the past, sometimes they were the previous athletic director. I think ran maybe things through the school that we didn't know, and we didn't have that much mailings. Everything was kind of like bundled in with the regular schools, like as far as membership. Those were, I guess, everybody got to put their stuff together and mail it out, which was what I thought happened back then. But as far as the school meter, I'm not sure how that was used or for whatever means and stuff.
Is the organization considering a separate address from the school where, we're pulling back on secretarial,
We have our own
man or
post-
woman power?
We've already taken care of that. We have a post office box, and we're trying to get everybody convinced, rather than sending it to the school, send it to the post office box, so we can do that. Yeah, we've already purchased a post office box to alleviate that problem too.
Okay, and then I guess,
And I'm not
Mr.
sure.
Garvey, and who's the next set of board members that are going to carry on in the
We
future?
got Mr. Garvey is the president, Chris Agnew is a vice president,
Rod Howe,
Rod Howe is another vice president,
Gina Chip as a treasurer, or I'm sorry, as a secretary.
secretary, and Mr. Graining is staying on as the treasurer. He
Okay.
still has more college bills to pay off.
Yeah, we had the long talk, I think.
Yeah.
I think I was on the train that night, or that afternoon.
Any other questions for boosters?
And next time I see you at the Federal Building, you better say hi to me when I'm
We have
shooting
one more
video.
question, Gary. Laura?
Sure.
But you're working.
I can talk and shoot with the camera at the same time. Thanks.
I don't know if I can, I'm going to try and articulate it. Since you're a 501c, that means that people can make a donation and get like a tax deduction for that, right?
Mhm.
So could you put on your website, you know, make a donation to boosters, and then alumni or kid, whatever, somebody who went through the program, loves it, now they're, you know, high-powered attorneys or something, whatever, they can make a donation, you know, in honor of the great times they had. Can you put like a little blurb? And
That's all, like I said, we were in the past year or two, we were running it just bare bones, just trying to do the minimum we could do because we didn't have a lot of new blood and the people, we had people that had kids like Chuck's son, the youngest son is already out 4 years. My youngest daughter just graduated last year, but like I said, a lot of the other people that were helping out, the Crowleys to name one that were doing the golf fighting, their kids were out 2 or 3 years. So basically, we were just running a bare bones. We weren't getting a lot of participation to do all this new things.
Yeah.
Everybody has an idea, but to implement it,
Yeah.
it takes time and it takes effort. The new group of people, all these things have been talked about. I
Okay.
think the website is going to really explode now. And like I said, I think you'll see a lot of that stuff. They're going after more alums to get more involved. They're you know, just with the golf outing alone, we're created a list. I don't know if you want to talk more about what's going on with the golf outing, but they're creating a list of alum that want to come back and play. And then with that list, they'll in turn get them possibly for membership, for donations, get more involved because a lot of them like to come back. So yeah, all that stuff.
Good.
With more new blood, you can just blossom, and I think that's what the people actually see, how successful it can be, and they look at other schools where they see this program, and we've been fairly successful running bare bones, and it can only get better with the influx of new people and blood into it.
I don't want to cut off the boosters, but I did promise everybody
Yeah.
that I'd have them out of here in a short period of time if they presented
Sorry
to the
about
board.
All right, any more questions for boosters? All right, let's bring the patrons up.
Patrons Council.
Patrons Council, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Gary. Good job.
Thank you.